Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Test Associates podcast, the show where we sit down with visionaries that are shaping the next era of human performance and tech. I'm Vaishnavi, your host, and today we have a truly brilliant guest joining us. I'm joined by Liz Marsland, a London-based well-being coach specializing in movement, nutrition, and mindset for high-performing teams. Liz helps companies improve employee health, energy, and productivity through personalized coaching and programs that deliver measurable results. So, welcome to the podcast, Liz. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much for the warm welcome.
No worries. Before we actually get into the questions, would you like to say anything else to our audience? Maybe something that I've missed?
I guess I'll just add to sort of my background and how I came to work with corporate wellbeing. I was working in movement and massage. I actually started doing massage in companies in South Africa.
Oh, wow.
Um, and I started to notice over time everyone having similar pain points. So over that period, I kind of started to recognize there were some really deeper, bigger issues within companies in where people were storing stress, their lifestyle. That's what got me into this direction and trying to specialize in helping these teams.
Yeah. Were you always in fitness?
No, I had 3 years teaching English in South Korea, actually.
Oh, damn.
Um, just for travel experience and just life experiences in my 20s. So I can't recommend that enough to anyone, is just to get away from things and go and travel. So it was amazing.
100%, 100%. But yeah, thank you so much. It really helps when you have like experience within teaching and other areas as well, because I think personally, obviously, when I work in corporate, and it helps when my coach has experience of what it's like to be in my shoes as well, in terms of the stress levels or what it's like day-to-day basis. So yeah, really helpful.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good to get an angle from well, get a point of view from every angle. I was also working as a PA and office manager for a Korean boss for a couple of years, and I was so itchy from being so sedentary, and that was a bit of insight into,
That's
what people have to deal
yeah.
with on a daily basis.
100%, 100%. And you're also like a speaker at NSTC this year, which is quite exciting because obviously NSTC is all about software testing and quality assurance, but it's topics like, fitness and corporate and how you actually manage your day to day and stress levels. It's those topics that are equally important, but they don't get spoken about enough. So we are really excited to have you as a speaker for the conference this year.
Thank you so much. I did it a couple of years ago and I'm so excited to be back. I actually met someone recently through a friend. He was a South African guy working in software and I mentioned that I'd be there and he resonated with that on that their jobs are so important, but they are not necessarily helped with the well-being side of things so much. So it's great to bring that to the conference. Thank you.
100%. And a lot of companies, obviously, they talk about well-being and they have like ping pong tables and yoga apps and the fruit bowls in the office. But employees obviously still continue to feel a little burnt out. Where do you think companies are getting it wrong?
Yeah, I think where it comes to, yeah, there's two angles to it. So a lot of companies do have a budget. So it seems really good that they've got a well-being budget.
Yeah,
And they're doing these little micro movements, I guess you'd say. So like the ping pong table, maybe
yeah.
the odd thing here and there. Some companies I know get a lot of monetary support with well-being, so then they have the choice to put it towards their gym. But
Mhm.
I think what they're not getting to the root causes of the sedentary lifestyle in general, kind of poor nutrition habits, which might get passed over a little bit, looked over, um, and people aren't getting that individual help. And then it's that sort of constant low level stress and nervous system overload that people feel because they're not maybe quite feeling balance in the day. So they are overwhelmed, when they're in the working environment all day, or maybe they're feeling that constant pressure from work. So it's looking at people and seeing individuals and how they are actually feeling and how they can be assisted rather than, as someone said, it's a bit more like a well-being theatre. They put things on for show and
Yeah.
that looks great, but is it actually helping the individuals? We're all very, very different. So I think that's where companies are getting it a little wrong.
Mm. Interesting. So we know what doesn't work, but from your experience coaching both individuals and organizations, what do you think actually makes a lasting impact when it comes to employee well-being?
So what I found is when I give talks on mental health, for example, in companies or posture workshops, posture improvement, you need to look at three pillars. So if you start looking at things from a movement perspective, nutrition perspective, and a mindset perspective, and then apply those to individuals. Companies could easily offer a questionnaire to their employees that they have to fill in as part of a well-being, strategy, call it, instead of a incentive, call it a strategy, and they need to measure feelings and these three pillars on individuals. So measure the feedback before a strategy is put in place, and then three months and 6 months post a strategy is put in place. And for example, this strategy could be something someone like myself
Yeah.
who is offering an online platform now. So much is available online,
Mhm.
where a coach can potentially come in, give some workshops on movement. So we're educating the staff. Then they have the choice on to help themselves. So, for example, knowing to move every 30 minutes, some deep breaths, techniques to help them feel better and move better throughout the day, as
Mhm.
well as nutrition coaching. And that can be done one-on-one via an app. People can be literally given a personalized nutrition plan that they can follow, as well as a community so that everybody can gather resources on there. I can offer, there are lots of community modules that you could be offered so people can actually learn and be educated and correctly informed on what could help them with their well-being. So they've got a sense of empowerment about it as well. I think that's quite important. And then after the strategy from an external contractor, check it again and check if performance figures and general absenteeism has gone down, just the key factors that people can check.
Yeah. Interesting. And you obviously spend a lot of time inside high-performing corporate environments. What, in your opinion, what are the biggest hidden stressors that you see? And these are the ones that people rarely talk about.
So that's where I started, was the posture related
Mm.
issues, because obviously when I was hands-on doing massage and talking to these people, and I must have seen 500 people or more, over a year or so,
Yeah.
they were all complaining about the same thing. So it could be something as simple as their desk setup. Someone has a couple of screens and they're always sat in the corner. People are crossing their legs, they're snacking, they're not moving. So it's these small habits, but I would say the sitting and the posture that people have all day, it's a hidden illness. Essentially, it's making us ill over time. Not to scare everybody, but it's the reality of it. And like you said, it's stuff that people aren't talking about enough. I've come across a lady who just was holding her mouse in a slightly incorrect way, so that her body wasn't in a good, her joints weren't aligned well. And she had wrist pain, and she was just wearing a wrist strap to fix it. And I said, "Oh, is the company not helping you with a standing desk or, some tools to lift a laptop?" And she said, "No, they had a posture assessor in." So she was assessed, told it was wrong, but then the company did nothing to support her with that. So again, it's looking at individual workstation setup. It can be something as simple as that. And
Yeah.
then, a talk on habits. I think posture setup, absolutely, because it can affect your nerves in your head, your headaches, your brain fog, your energy, how you breathe, your organs not getting enough blood, the spine not getting any movement. There are so many sort of hidden health risks there. They say that sitting for long periods is actually has more health risks than smoking. So it's pretty scary. Yeah, so that's I would go into it more in a specific workshop, obviously, but you get the gist.
Of
It's
course, yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
that is the biggest thing because it's affecting. Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just saying that that's what the speaking session is for at the conference.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll talk about that more. So I would say that when I put a list of 10 symptoms on a screen, there's
Yeah.
everybody in the room, however many people there are, that can relate to at least one. And, there are so many of them. So that's the scary thing from my side, from my point of view. Because those small aches and pains that people put up with and don't want to cause a fuss,
Yeah.
over time, that's what will lead to the chronic burnout or, chronic pain is just, it's not normal for us to have, but so many people live with it. So that's when if you start to put a little bit of individual attention to employees or offer them the right sort of knowledge, then that's where it can come in handy. And of course, you need interest from the top as well. You need a director that has some interest in helping their staff.
Yeah, it's always about convincing the leadership, isn't it? Because there
Yeah.
are these smaller things that you feel like they don't matter, but they have like such a significant impact on somebody's productivity at work and outside of work as well.
Absolutely. If you think about every time that we have a little bit of stress, you get that kind of you shallow breathing and a bit of tension in the body.
Mm.
Imagine how many of those you're getting throughout the day
Oh my,
from a work environment, and that's without even the commutes and things like that. You're
yeah,
carrying, and it's not like you said. It's just it sounds a bit dramatic. It's not all a bad thing, but
yeah,
we're not meant to take on that amount of stress in our body throughout the day. So physically,
yeah.
dis-ease starts to show.
100%. Like, I think our director, he's recently bought a ring that tracks like a smart ring,
Oh,
and
great.
he recommended the same thing to me. So I got this one, which was like a cheaper one from India because they're quite expensive. Like the
The
old,
Aura ring, yeah, they are.
like, oh my Lord, I'm not spending that much. But it's really cool. Like it helps you track your sleep and your stress levels. But yeah, it's a good thing to have. Not sure what people would actually do when they're stressed because it tracks your stress levels, but what do you do about it?
That's the thing. Yeah, and that's where the external coach would come in. That's where I would come in. So, um, there are very simple breathing techniques that people would do. And it's one of the first things that I would recommend and that's what I would teach a group, is that sort of box breathing. So if you're feeling stressed or perhaps you have something that tells you, it's helping us to start to learn our bodies again. The mind body connection, because when we're just whizzing through, we have no idea that maybe our cortisol is through the roof. So now it's good that we have these tools that let us know. So then the next step is, of course, learning habits that we can use in a minute. We go to the bathroom and just take ourselves there and do some breathing. So we're not looking like we're lazy. We're just doing, what we know to look after ourselves. I think that's the key.
Yeah, 100%. So say a company comes to you and they genuinely want to do better for their employees and invest in their people, but they
Mm.
have no idea where to begin. What would
Mhm.
you say is the very first thing that you tell them to focus on?
So when I first start with a company, we go through their parameters of success. So we go through some metrics that they would like that they may have concern on. So perhaps it's productivity, perhaps they've seen some people that are stressed, general energy levels, mood. That kind of they have some low motivated staff, that kind of thing. And then we look at usually four areas that we'd like to see change in, and we agree on those. So then I know which route to take with them. Um, Obviously, we see how much budget they have, and we do the questionnaire. So we'll send that out to the staff and see how they are actually feeling. I think it's really important when companies do make this move that they have somebody external, because staff they need to feel psychologically safe. It's this kind of corporate term. If you wouldn't feel safe talking to your HR necessarily or your boss about some small stresses, because it might affect your annual review. It might make you seem like you're complaining. So these things they need to be spoken about with somebody external to the company, so they feel that privacy and they feel safe. So that's quite important. And then I would say start by welcoming, level one is have some workshops in, so that the education is given in person in real time or online Zoom sessions. And then enroll in a program, commit to 3 months at least to actually see to make some change. So get a proper strategy with someone that's going to look at, let's say, movement, nutrition, and mindset. Start with those three. And then we test it at the 3 months. I give some one-to-one coaching to each person, movement specific for their day. So of course, not everybody's going to get to the gym. So it can just be little bits of movement that they can do throughout the day. And then when the community is then on the group as well, they can start chatting to each other and say, oh, okay, cool. Whoever goes to put the kettle on is going to do 10 squats and 10 push-ups against the desk. Things like this. It can be a bit cheesy and a bit, but it brings people together. But there's various ways of doing it where it meets the company's needs as well
Mhm.
in a suitable way, not a kind of cheesy ping pong at lunch or one yoga session a month.
Yeah. Oh
So
my God. That one yoga session a month is like, it renews us. We're like a whole new human
yeah.
being.
Yeah, and out of the 100 employees, let's say 20 of those sign up and 10 actually make it. It's
100%. The turnout rate is so low all the time.
yeah, the attendance is bad. So I think, yeah, just to reiterate, the first step is to talk to somebody who can help them with a strategy for at least 3 months. I recommend 6 months more, and agree on those parameters to look at. So you can just really see some change, and then you're seeing some results, which means it's working.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think I'd rather see companies spend money on that than changing a whole space for a ping pong table and a games room. That's more like team building and fun. It's the social side.
100%, yeah. I mean, I've been in fitness for quite some time. Definitely not as much as you have. But I have been going to the gym for quite a few years, and
Brilliant.
I have been thinking of like working with a coach. But I do know that there are a lot of coaches out there and a lot of well-being programs out there, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to sell you something. I mean, the fitness industry, like I checked, it's like it's on quite a lot. Like obviously
Yeah,
there's a lot of scope as well for it, but people are making money out of it left, right, and center. I
that's
want
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I want to ask you directly, like, what would you say your approach, like, or how is your approach different from all of the traditional programs out there?
So when we're talking about fitness, um, that's an area in itself. So let's talk about online coaching if you want to get fit as an individual,
Mhm.
slightly aside from the company well-being. I was part of a mentorship because I've been a trainer for 20 years and I've been in corporate well-being for about 15.
Mhm.
Um, so I would say that mix of experience is pretty rare, as well as massage. And then I'm a yoga teacher and I do sound healing. And so I've built my experience based on a holistic approach to well-being, taking into account anatomy, the mindset, and nutrition as well. So I'm a nutrition coach of 2 years as well now. So I've kind of built that experience so that I can help people on a one-to-one basis and coming at them to meet them where they're at with their lifestyle. And I can use one or more of those backgrounds of knowledge to help them to find the best way to move forwards and prioritize what they need to do first. In terms of online coaches, I sidetracked. When I did this mentorship to find out how to move my sort of online coaching for fitness and nutrition online. So I'm 43. I had to learn how to do this. A lot of people when they're younger, they come into marketing. Instagram's their best friend from day one.
Yeah.
As older people, we've had to learn it as we go, and it's been quite a journey. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Um, I was shocked in this mentorship. I found out that, well, in this talk that they did, webinar, the lady said to 600 people on there learning about this online coaching business model, she says, we don't ask you to be a personal trainer. You don't need that certification, um, but it might help you. So essentially, none of these coaches, or a massive percentage of them, had experience in personal training. And that's exactly what they're making money from because they've learned how to sell and how to use ChatGPT and sort of
Yeah.
just cookie cut these plans. And of course, they're going to get you down 5 kgs because you're probably doing more with them than you were doing before.
Yeah.
But that's not suitable for longevity. That is not suitable for injury prevention or safe training. That's certainly not suitable for corporate well-being and somebody who, you need somebody who understands the posture, breath work, how stress affects the body. So I would just look for certifications, experience, like dig into the coach that you're going to work with and find out their background properly, book a call, and ask those questions because I certainly wouldn't want my daughter or my mum or a friend to work with one of these coaches.
100%. I mean, I think a lot of coaches out there, like this is from my own personal experience. I have recently started working with a coach, but she's like a doctor based in India. And I wanted to always work with a doctor rather than, somebody who's just giving me the usual thing about calories and macros. I
Yeah.
wanted to learn something more on a deeper level. But a lot of coaches out there, they're just trying to put you on a very aggressive diet and get
Yeah,
you results in like 3 months or 6 months. So just
that's
so
it.
that they can have have it as their testimonial or something in their portfolio. And then later on, the client is left with, they've not learned anything of how can they continue sustaining this, or what are the food
Yeah,
habits that you need to learn, and what are the stress habits that you probably need to understand when you're working in corporate.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's why one of the big issues that I think people don't talk about enough is the mindset side, because when you look at the psychology of motivation and discipline, discipline
Yeah.
shouldn't be a torture thing. It's like keeping a promise to yourself. And that's with small habits every day. And it might not be the first thing that you want to do. The first thing you want to do is have some chocolate cake.
Yeah.
But it's understanding the bigger story of, why you're putting yourself through this journey, and then how you can, change your mindset, your habits,
Yeah.
maybe some little breath work things that can change your mindset in 5 minutes, that then can, like you said, it's not approaching it with a longevity mindset at all. It's just a quick win, and then people will probably go back to it after 3 months. It's similar to this, the injections that people are taking. It
Ozempic.
really Ozempic. It really does need to come with a strength plan, and then so that when they have reached their target weight, you're seeing all these people not looking that healthy because they haven't built strength with it, or they haven't learned to eat properly.
Yeah.
So now they need to take it forever, to keep that skinniness. But yeah, we want to see people healthy and functional when they're 70.
Exactly, exactly my point. I mean, I might be biased, but I genuinely feel like a lot of people should rather invest in coaches than, when you're like 50 or 70 and you're like in a hospital with like a really long bill. I mean, that's probably going to be more expensive rather than investing in a coach right
Totally.
now and learning the habits that will take you to 70 when you're still like really healthy. Because like
Yes.
you mentioned, even with the stress levels, like even when you're in corporate, when you're like really stressed about something or like something in your life, the cravings that you end up having after that, like it's those things
Yeah.
that you need to learn how to manage rather than something else. But yeah, 100%
Yeah.
agree with you.
Well, I'm very, very pleased to hear you say all that. Yeah, because you're young and you know this already, and I'm
I mean,
very
like,
proud of you.
thank you. I'm actually getting my partner to also like invest in a coach. I'm like, this is what you should be investing
Fantastic.
in, like not in
Oh,
something
I love
else.
that.
Um,
Yeah, and also when you see, on Instagram, for example, a lady in her 80s deadlifting, I
oh,
just feel amazing. And, I just feel like and so inspired. I'm like, I want to be that person. I want to help other people feel good at 80. And I look at my own parents. My dad had such lower back pain for years, and he was just too busy. They didn't have the knowledge in those days. He didn't know about how to prevent pain or his posture, or all of these things that we're talking about. He's now retired, and he's spent years now educating himself, and I'm just taking great pleasure in seeing him learn about it himself and trying to, fix that and release the pain. It's great. So yeah, I completely agree with what you say.
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get my family to eat a little more protein because I don't know if you know how Indian diets are. Like they're predominantly carbs and fats.
Yes.
Whereas
Yeah.
protein is like nowhere to be seen. So I'm like pushing my parents and everybody, like, where's the protein? Like, God.
Oh, as a little tip for you, you can research this, or I'll send you some info on it. When you combine particular plants together, so in the blue zone countries, they do this naturally, and that's usually why you see they're really healthy.
Mhm.
They give you the amino acids that you need to create a full protein. So it will be like in the Mexican one, beans and rice, certain hummus and brown bread, for example. These things, they're mixes of plants that are creating a full protein. So that's a way that you could get them to maybe increase their protein.
Very interesting. Yeah, definitely. I'd love to learn more about that. I think I've always loved learning more about nutrition, and it's just fascinating to me of how food can actually affect so much in your life. It's really quite fascinating.
It is incredible, isn't it, when you start looking into how it affects your hormones, your mood, and everything like that. It's very linked to our minds. We're not separate to our brains, are we?
100%. My last question to you is, end it on a higher note. Like over your career, you must have seen like truly transformational outcomes. What would you say are the most memorable or successful well-being programs that you've ever run?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. I did work with a company and they were absolutely motivated because we came from the senior guy. He'd had some mental health issues. So he was just really interested in helping his staff not feel like that, you know? So it was absolutely great. So he took us on for 6 months. We did the program, we did the one-to-one, we did massage on how in-house. But I also took them on well-being walks as well. So we offered the posture education at work. They all improved their posture, and every time I saw them for their massage, so he got me in for the workshops, physical massage, a bit of nutrition coaching, but we took them out for a hike as well. And this was where I really saw the camaraderie come about. So the tools that they'd already learned, they were out walking, and it's something about being in nature just brings about easier communication, doesn't it? People feel calmer,
Yeah.
cortisol naturally goes down, and then you're away from work as well. So people started opening up about their pets and their personal life, and it's just a really nice tool because any personality, introvert, extrovert, they can kind of just come and go as they please, and it's not like a formal sitting down looking at each other. It's very much we're just relaxing and enjoying our environment. So I really saw some change in the way they were communicating.
Mhm.
Some people opened up, where they needed to. It wasn't an awkward share. It was just a nice.
Yeah.
So with that, I think I saw them bond in a different way. By the
Mhm.
end of that walk, they were so relaxed. I'm not just saying it was the walk, but I think that continued with their team camaraderie and their relationship at work afterwards. We did do the tests later, and so many of the emotional and psychological things that we looked at had improved. So that was just a really, really warming thing to hear.
Oh,
Um, and they did continue with the kind of keeping each other going with the posture corrections. I teach them some band work, stretching. They kept the classes going with them themselves. They didn't have a teacher anymore. And yeah, I kept relationships with some of them in terms of helping them onwards. So I really saw some great improvements, and it was definitely down to the director that cared, and was interested to do that and continue it. So that was fantastic.
wow, that sounds really wholesome and definitely
Yeah.
something that every corporate environment needs, like a break once in a while. Um, but Liz, thank you so much for your time today. And yeah,
Thank you very much.
sharing.
So nice to speak to
So nice to speak to you too. It's been like a lovely podcast, isn't it? But
you.
it's always nice having a conversation with you. I've done like another podcast with you in the past, and
Yeah.
it was really nice.
Yeah. Thank you
And
so much.
I'm really excited for people to even hear your talk at the conference because you bring like such a fresh perspective amongst software testers and quality assurance folks. So I'm sure like they'll benefit quite a lot from your talk.
Thank you very, very much. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope we can keep sharing our passion for well-being.
100%. Thank you again, Liz.
Thank you very much.